Have you ever felt that age is just a number when it comes to love? Imagine for a moment that no matter how many birthdays you've celebrated, your heart carries a timeless power to connect, heal, and awaken on a spiritual level. It's an idea that might sound bold at first, especially if you've ever been told that your capacity for love diminishes over the years. But real-life stories and emerging research point to a different reality. Many people discover deeper, more meaningful connections as they grow older, challenging the notion that passion and intimacy belong solely to the young. In fact, some find the most profound bonds in the very seasons of life society claims are past their prime. Perhaps that resonates with an experience you've had or a secret hope you carry. If so, you're not alone. Picture meeting someone who embodies a soul-level understanding you never knew you craved, and realizing you're both much older or younger than the world expects for such an intense bond. How liberating would it feel to embrace that connection without fear of judgment? I once heard about a woman who, after spending decades in what she believed to be a fulfilling marriage, found herself divorced at 62. She felt convinced she'd missed her chance at love, yet soon after, through a mutual hobby group, she met a man who completely shattered her old perceptions. Their closeness was deeper than anything she had ever known. The two embarked on a journey filled with new experiences, travel, volunteer work, spiritual study, and ultimately forged a relationship so rich that she marveled at how her heart had never stopped growing. Her story is just one example of how powerful love can be when we break free of conventional age barriers. If this sparks a sense of possibility in you, take a moment to gently tap that like button and subscribe. Here, we explore the mysteries of the human heart and mind, grounded in both psychological insight and spiritual wisdom. You might find yourself reflecting on how your relationships, past, present, or those yet to come, could be different if you unlearned everything limiting you about age. And if you stay with me, we'll peel back layers of conditioning, explore the nature of spiritual awakening, and reveal how love can fuel personal transformation in ways you may have never imagined. Spiritual awakening might sound like a mystical buzzword, but beneath the surface, it's often a deeply personal process of coming into greater alignment with who you truly are. This awakening, however you define it, can have surprising impacts on your relationships. One of the most remarkable shifts involves how you perceive love. Imagine discovering that romantic connection isn't merely about finding a companion who checks all the boxes, but about engaging in a sacred dance of growth and reflection. When you awaken spiritually, the desire for genuine understanding and emotional resonance intensifies. It's less about shallow compatibility and more about nurturing bonds that mirror back your highest potential. In the words of Carl Jung, the journey toward individuation, becoming whole, shapes not only our sense of self, but also the way we show up for others. Jung believed that the unconscious mind holds keys to our deeper purpose, and through this process, relationships can become catalysts for greater self-awareness. As you expand spiritually, you might notice that love feels simultaneously more subtle and more powerful. The quiet smiles, the intuitive glances, the shared silences begin to matter as much, if not more, than grand romantic gesture. Emotions you once dismissed may resurface to be understood and integrated. Old wounds might reappear, guiding you to heal. Sometimes people fear this awakening, worrying will destabilize what they've known. Yet, over and over, testimonials emerge from individuals who have embraced that inner shift, only to find that their capacity for deep, meaningful love has multiplied. Whether you're 25 or 65, the awakening transcends your birth date. It's about the quality of presence you bring into every interaction. If you're curious to see how this applies to your life, keep listening, because we're about to explore the broader cultural constructs that sometimes get in the way of this experience. One of the greatest barriers many face is the weight of societal expectations. Think about the countless times you've heard people say, "You're too old for that," or "Isn't that a bit late in life for romance?" Our culture often draws rigid lines, suggesting that love is most valid in certain age brackets, or that anything outside those lines is peculiar or destined for failure. These unspoken rules might feel absolute, yet they can silently stifle the heart's natural inclination to bond and grow. What if those rules weren't actually grounded in truth, but were instead designed, consciously or not, to keep our perceptions limited? From a social psychology standpoint, we often internalize messages about who we can love and when. Media influences, family traditions, and peer expectations feed these narratives, and these constraints can feel suffocating, especially if your heart is guiding you somewhere uncharted. But here's a compelling statistic. In surveys of older adults in long-term relationships, a significant number report greater emotional satisfaction and a readiness to explore deeper companionship than they did in their earlier years. The question is, could we all learn from these findings? Perhaps the next time you sense a spark with someone outside the conventional, age-appropriate box, you might ask yourself, whose voice is actually telling me this is wrong? Is it my genuine intuition or a cultural script I've absorbed? Deep down, many people long for permission to experience love, free from rigid constraints. Are you ready to give yourself that permission? Imagine the sense of liberation in choosing a relationship that resonates with your soul, rather than one that caters to external expectations. Maybe you feel a quiet thrill, realizing that your journey doesn't have to mirror anyone else. If you're intrigued, stay with me. We're about to discover how genuine connections can transcend the physical number of years we've walked this earth. There's an abundance of stories showing how true connection can flourish between individuals of vastly different ages. In one account, a man in his 70s and a woman in her 40s met through a shared interest in meditation retreats. Their conversations felt timeless, their life experiences complementary. While the world saw a massive age gap, they saw mutual respect, curiosity, and a shared spiritual bond that lit up their days. At first, they tiptoed around public judgment, but gradually, they recognized that the foundation of their relationship was something unbreakable, a joint dedication to conscious living and mutual growth. Such stories highlight how love can move beyond the question of, am I too old or too young for this, and into the realm of, what does my soul recognize in you? Some talk about sensing a profound familiarity that feels almost destined, echoing philosophies across various spiritual traditions that suggest souls may reconnect throughout lifetimes. Whether you embrace that concept or not, the idea of an undeniable pull is common to human experience, one that can't be measured by the ticking of years. When you realize your connection is genuine, you might notice phrases echoing in your mind, like, this person's feelings for you are real, genuine, and pure. All the subtle nuances, from how you mirror each other's emotional states to the way you mirror each other's emotional state, communicate, start to matter more than the digits on your birth certificate. Philosophers and yogic teachers alike have proposed that relationships can be vehicles of awakening, harnessing the power of love to dissolve illusions and move us closer to truth. Even if that sounds lofty, think about it practically. Your willingness to see another person's divinity, as well as your own, can transform how you love and how you let yourself be loved. When love transcends these conditioned notions of age, it can become a fierce catalyst for personal transformation. Whether we're discussing first love, a new love after heartbreak, or a rediscovery of love in the later chapters of life, the energy of genuine affection can shake us to our core. Psychologist Abraham Maslow famously spoke of the hierarchy of needs, culminating in self-actualization, a state where individuals fully realize their potential. Love is woven into this tapestry, not just as an emotional want, but as a powerful force that can propel us through the layers of belonging and esteem, straight into profound personal growth. Some people describe a remarkable alchemy that happens when they open themselves to a relationship that defies convention. Picture someone who's navigated decades of routine, only to encounter a partner who sparks a renaissance in their creativity, worldview, and sense of purpose. Suddenly, they paint again or write poetry, volunteer in community projects, or decide to heal old familial wounds. The relationship, steeped in authenticity, fuels them to become the version of themselves they have always aspired to be. If you reflect on your own life, you might notice that powerful love stories, whether yours or someone else, tend to coincide with major shifts in self-understanding. It's not just about two hearts merging. It's about becoming more of who you're meant to be. In that sense, love truly is an art form. Every thought, every emotion is a brushstroke on the canvas of your reality. Yet, when you open yourself to such depth, you might also discover heightened emotional sensitivities, especially if your awakening runs parallel to the blossoming of a relationship. Spiritual awakenings can bring old wounds to the surface, intensify empathy, and heighten intuition. Suddenly, you may sense energies or feel emotions you used to gloss over. This can be both exhilarating and disconcerting, particularly if your partner is also experiencing transformation. Managing these sensitivities often calls for mindful communication. Let each other know what you're feeling. Even if words fall short, practice conscious breathing or reflective pauses when conflict arises. Emotional intelligence studies emphasize the importance of naming feelings accurately and understanding how they color your perception. Bringing mindfulness into your daily interactions through meditation, journaling, or simply pausing before reacting can help you navigate the new currents of sensitivity that accompany awakening. It's also crucial to recognize that relationships during or after a spiritual awakening may require more intentional boundaries. You might pick up on your partner's emotions so strongly that you risk losing your own emotional center. This is where trust in your personal journey becomes essential. Trust that you can hold space for someone you love, but also honor your own growth and healing. Some find solace in signs they interpret as guidance from a higher self or a universal intelligence, whether it's a dream, a recurring number sequence, or a sudden realization during a moment of stillness. These subtle messages can be powerful reminders that your path is unfolding at the right pace. If that resonates with you, share a small moment in the comments when you felt guided in a relationship. You may spark a meaningful exchange with others who have had similar experiences. Navigating the heightened sensitivities of awakening may also deepen your understanding of life's spiritual side. It isn't uncommon to experience synchronicities that confirm you're on the right track. Perhaps you think of a book about conscious love, only to have a friend gift it to you the next day. Or you stumble upon a workshop that addresses precisely the questions weighing on your heart. These gentle nudges can feel like cosmic winks, reassuring you that love, growth, and awakening are all woven into the same tapestry. By recognizing that emotional shifts are a natural part of this journey, you open up space for compassion, both for yourself and your partner. Remember that the essence of spiritual and emotional growth is not perfection. It's awareness. If tears surface unexpectedly, or you need a pause to process your feelings, that doesn't indicate weakness. Rather, it's an invitation to deepen intimacy through vulnerability. With each cycle of revelation, you expand your capacity for empathy and connection, forging a relationship that becomes a living classroom for both soul and psyche. All these threads, age expectations, the nature of spiritual awakening, the complexities of genuine love. Maybe you've started to question how your life could transform if you let yourself embrace a bond that defies the standard script. If so, take a moment to breathe into that curiosity. Let it guide you, even if it stirs up a bit of fear or excitement. Sometimes, the most meaningful growth occurs at the edge of our comfort zones. Reflect on the concept that love and age, seen through the lens of spiritual awakening, offer an incredible opportunity to break free from judgments that might have stifled your heart. Society may tell you that a certain age means you're supposed to settle down or give up on certain dreams. Yet your heart might be quietly whispering, but you're only just beginning. If you listen closely, you might realize that love is a force that expands your perspective at every stage of life. Not a fleeting game reserved for the youthful. It's a perpetual invitation to evolve emotionally and spiritually, to become more compassionate, more brave, and more in tune with the universal threads that connect us all. With that in mind, think about a time in your life when an unexpected connection led you to see yourself differently. Perhaps it was a short-lived romance that nonetheless left a lasting shift in your worldview. Or maybe it was a long-time partnership that has continued to unfold like a blossoming flower in slow motion. By revisiting those stories, you might discover hidden layers of resilience, wisdom, or passion you've carried forward. Even if you've never encountered a love that transcends age boundaries, hearing about it or imagining it can open your eyes to what's possible. It can be a gentle call to lay down the fears or biases that hold you back. These reflections also bring us full circle to the essence of spiritual awakening. When you step into conscious awareness, you begin to see that external markers, like how many years you've lived, pale in comparison to the heart's capacity for renewal. More and more, you might find yourself asking not, is this age appropriate? But, is this connection in alignment with my spirit? That single shift in perspective can cascade into transformations in the way you communicate, the way you approach conflict, and how you champion each other's growth. Relationships become less about fitting a mold and more about co-creating a reality where both individuals thrive. The beauty of this perspective is that it doesn't ignore the practical challenges of relationships that cross generational lines. It simply reframes them as opportunities for learning. Perhaps you'll navigate different cultural references, health considerations, or career stages. Still, those very differences can become stepping stones for empathy and adaptability, fueling the richness of the bond, the melding of wisdom and vitality, the bridging of perspectives. These can heighten appreciation for life's mosaic of experiences. In that sense, age becomes not an obstacle, but a tapestry of nuance that can deepen love's complexity and beauty. As your sense of love broadens, it can spark a ripple effect in other areas. You might find more confidence in sharing your truths, launching that creative project you've kept on the back burner, or finally meditating regularly because you feel a connection to something greater than the mundane. This synergy between love and awakening keeps unfolding, teaching you that life is less about arriving at a final destination and more about continuously evolving in how you care for yourself and those around you. Even heartbreak or challenges become catalysts for inner growth, revealing new layers of insight into who you are and what you need. Now, if all of this resonates with you, I'd love to hear your perspective. Have you ever been in a relationship that challenged what you believed about age, either for better or for worse? Did it spark deeper insight into your own spiritual journey? Feel free to share your story in the comments. Your experiences may help someone else see a new horizon of possibility. And if you haven't yet encountered a connection like this, I invite you to remain open to the idea that love can appear in the most unexpected ways when you're ready to accept it. Sometimes, beyond the thresholds you once deemed logical or normal. As you look ahead, consider inviting a sense of wonder into your relationships. Instead of seeing love as a static milestone, like marriage by a certain age, allow it to be a living teacher that continually evolves with you. Whether you're newly awakened to these ideas or you've been walking a spiritual path for years, there is endless room for exploration. Each day, you can fine-tune how you show up for yourself and for others, cultivating a more mindful, present, and soulful life. And this is where age genuinely becomes a minor detail in a far greater tapestry of shared human experience. Before we part ways here, remember that love and awakening are intimately connected forces that can guide you to question every assumption you've ever had about who you are and how you relate to others. If you found value in this exploration, gently tap that subscribe button so we can continue journeying together into other facets of personal growth and spiritual insight. There's so much more to discover about how we heal, transform, and transcend limitations, both those set by society and those we impose on ourselves. Thank you for spending this time with me. Spending this time with me. I hope these reflections have stirred something in your heart or mind, inspiring you to rethink whatever rules you believed stood in the way of your deepest, most fulfilling connections. As you carry these insights forward, may you remain open to the possibility that love truly knows no age. It is a powerful, evolving force, one that helps us become more empathetic, more courageous, and more in tune with the vast potential we hold within. Until we meet again, take a moment today to honor the love in your life, whether it's a future dream or a present reality, and trust that your heart is far more expansive than any number could ever define.